we have a few more minutes, and I wanted to, and there's no pressure to ask questions, but I wanted to open up the floor to any questions that you guys might have of Hyatt or Anne, just on life or the house or paintings or technique.
I'll promise to be brief. Because your question may be, how long does this thing go?
So no pressure at all, but we have some time to ask some questions. And if there aren't any questions, then I'll close this out, and we can hang out for a little bit longer and then go our separate ways.
Praise God. Yeah, Late Great Planet Earth is now out of print, and it suffered some, it was sort of out of date too, but it was effective to me.
So
The Late Great Planet Earth by Hal Lindsey.
I have another. Oh, it's not really a question, but tell us about marriage. And yeah.
Okay, I got married on 4 days' notice.
What?
And so far, so good. It's been 60 years. We've been married 60 years. It's the best thing I ever did, except for accepting the Lord, which is, of course, is its own category. But other than that, getting married to the right person was my best choice. But I wasn't working with the Lord. It happened through circumstances. It's a whole other story. Everything's in the book. Every story is in the book. So that's what I tell people now. Just read the book.
It's the only
But people don't read
all the
it.
questions I have.
Anyway, a job offer came up. It was across the country. I wanted to take it, and I had to decide right now. And I thought I could even, maybe I'd get my driver's license back. And so I was ready to go, and I was going to be a technical illustrator. Really, it didn't turn out that way, but that was I thought. And make a lot of money, too. But I had to decide right now, and Ann and I were lovers. But we hadn't been talking about it. So, we were just good. We were best friends. We did everything together. But now I was leaving. Do I take her with me or do I not? And we decided to. And we decided to get married that week. And got married, and the next day we moved to Georgia. 60 years ago, so far so good. 5 children. Great life. I mean, it's not been all great for her, but it's been all great for me.
Anyone else?
In this room, can you identify one piece of art that means something special to you and share what that is? There's a lot.
No. I don't know. Anne, I guess. Anne. And they're all fine. They just show my breadth. They show my interest that is very diverse. I gave up a long time ago on trying to be the artist of such and such. I just tried this, I like the women, I like the figure. I often do, when I do a figure, it's often a woman, it's often a dancer because I like it in motion. But it's not that I'm a dancer and love ballet, but I like that painting. I did it a long time ago. I like flowers. Why? Because flowers are God's color. You go out in the world and there's color right in the flowers. It's incredible. But I do it my way. It's not like I'm doing a careful flower. I'm doing my own impressionistic. So that's that kind of thing. And then I like abstract connected with realism, which like that one is. It's kind of an abstract. It was an abstract thing to start with, and then I put a boat in it. That's how I often do it. So in this room, the ones that I like, if you've been in the studio, there's a big wide one of Africans being baptized. That's going to a mission. That's what I do sometimes. I contribute to missions. And I haven't done one in a while, so one just came up. It's going to Ethiopia. I like it. It's half abstract, very impressionistic. I like it quite a bit. And then there's a worshiper that's on the wall. That's a commission. Again, a figure. So I don't know that any of these have any more meaning than others, to tell you the truth. They're like my children. They say, what's your favorite? I say, what's my favorite child? I don't know. I have least favorite paintings, but I don't show them.
The implications there.
That's the best I can do.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a great one, but
what's like the most? Well, you've obviously lived a very interesting life, and I'm just curious, like, what's the most interesting thing that either the Lord has done with you, or that you've learned about God? Like, what's the most interesting thing about God?
Okay, one thing is that he's very creative. Okay, here's a quick story, if I make it quick. We raised money to go to Guatemala, and fortunately, it was a low standard of living. We didn't have to raise very much because we didn't know very many people. Went back there and lived frugally. Then I was transferred back here. Difficult to raise money to live here because you're living here, and it's expensive. So now I'm living on that income here. I called it the Miracle a Month plan because every month we barely make it. Didn't go into debt, but I tell you, after a while, like a long time, I got tired of it. I said, Lord, this is too hard. I don't want to complain. I said, Ann, I'm going fasting and praying today. I'm going to pray about money. Is that okay to pray about money? Yeah. When you need it, you pray about it. So I said, I'll see you at the end of the day. I'm going up the hills. I went up the hills. It started raining on me. I barely got to my subject. You're going to pray about one topic. You talk about a lot of things first. I was barely to my topic, and it was raining. I had to run back to my car. I'm not going home. Man doesn't expect me. What do? Oh, I'll go back down to the magazine. I'm not working there anymore because I quit to go to Wycliffe. But I know those guys, and one had said, hey, you ever do books? Yeah, I can do books, design books. Well, I think I'm going to do a book. I thought maybe he's there Saturday. Probably not. He wasn't. But that's why I went there, because I wasn't going to go home. I went there. A guy was there, advertising manager. Hey, Hyatt, you come about the job? I said, what? He said, didn't Steve call you? Steve, publisher? No. Oh, he's going to. He said he was going to. What happened? Why? He said, the last art director walked out. He got fed up with us because they could never do due dates, and he just gave up, walked out. They got somebody else who was now at Road and Track. They got him back to do the finish of the magazine, but they were looking for an art director. I said, well, Steve has asked me a couple of times, and I've always been complimented, but I have another life now. I can't do that. He said, well, he was going to ask you if you could want to do it part-time. That's a full-time job. I mean, it's a big job. Part-time, I could do that. What? Steve said he was going to offer you a full-time salary. Oh, well, let's call him. So Steve comes down and we're talking. And he's saying, you could get help. We got an assistant for you at due date, and it could happen. And I don't know. And he said, how much would you want? I said, I don't know. I've been on it for years. And I said, how much are you paying? He says, well, I could start with such and such. Inside, I'm going, I can't believe this. I mean, this morning. I was out there getting rained out of my spiritual experience about money, and he's offering me a job for money. A part-time job for a full-time salary. What's the big salary? I'm thinking, I can't believe this. But on the outside, I'm going, well, we could start with that.
Good negotiator.
Yeah. And I said, if it works, a month later, you can raise me. I said, yeah, okay. Which is what happened. Well, I said, I can't say yes now because I have to check with my boss at Wycliffe. I mean, is this okay? And I got to check with Ann because we had kids at home. I didn't want to be a bad father. He was always gone. I did a lot of it at the house, by the way, in those days. But mainly I wanted to check with God. Is this a test or is this real? So I checked with Wycliffe and they said, yeah, it's fine. And I talked with Ann. She's fine. I go to God. What does he say? He says, what have you been asking for? I said, well, I was asking for money, but I wasn't asking for a job. Well, how did he get money? Usually that's where it comes from. Well, what happened to that day, and this is what I'm answering the question, that God became more open-minded and more creative than I was giving him credit for. I had him in my little religious, this is the way it is and that's the way it isn't. God's bigger than all that. And let him be that way in your life.
You've shared a bunch of stories about going on a walk or every day on the way home from work, you'd spend an hour or even
That
just
that week, yeah.
being in a hotel room reading books.
Yeah.
But I'm just curious about that that process for you. If it's just like you get to a certain point and you decide, okay, this whole week I'm going to go
No,
walk
that,
with
that
the
was
Lord.
rare.
Like,
That was rare.
like how do you? I guess I'm just more curious, like practically, when you were seeking the Lord, how have you found that you have that conversation with Him?
Well, if he says if you seek him with your whole heart, you'll find him. But you never know how he's going to show up. You know, he's very, very creative. I'm not so sure I'm an expert at it. I've had these experiences, but I tell myself, well, why aren't I having these experiences every day? Because I get busy with, whatever I'm doing. But I think the Lord enjoys, if I can say it that way, what we would call normal life. We want the miracle. He says, the miracle's your body, for example. It's all working. Oh yeah, I guess so. Don't think about it. Just the normal stuff, I think, is kind of enough. I was thinking about the miracle. I was reading this about Jesus is healing all these people. They had a whole multitude, and they're bringing the people that were sick and they were maimed, and a couple other things. Maimed, that means they got crushed. Their arm didn't work anymore, and he heals them. Okay, when they're healed, where are they? They're back to normal. They're back to where the rest of the people were all the time. And they're not even caring about it because they're just normal. But the person that doesn't have it is yearning for normal. Well, then I'm thinking, I think normal is pretty special. We just don't remember it. But as far as how to find God in a special moment, and that's usually when we're thinking about it. All of a sudden we got some stress. Yeah. That's when we'll think, okay, I got it. Then we do it. We start zeroing in on them, and we find the answers one way or another. But I ask for wisdom all the time, and why not? I want to ask for wisdom when I'm writing a sentence, and I think I don't know what to say on this, how to finish this sentence, not to mention the paragraph. And I'll ask for it, and then all of a sudden, there it is. It just comes. Same with our painting. You think it's easy? No, it's challenging. In fact, creativity, I've decided, is nothing but problem solving. A person that's very creative is a person that's also inventing the problem. But you're finding yourself at a loss to get the next step. And wisdom is promised to us. So that's one way of finding, because I find that when I ask him, he says, go ahead. Yeah. I find it comes. So I guess that's how it is. But because when he says seek God and you find it, he never says how to seek God. Yeah. It's more of an attitude. Enough.
Got time for a couple more questions if anybody else has one. Cool. Well, thank you, Hyatt.
Next, they'll be asking what's for breakfast.
Are you saying we're having a sleepover?
They're thinking that.
Well, thank you for taking the time to allow us into your home and inviting us into the place where you do life and also where you work and sharing yourself with us and your stories and all that good stuff. I'm just very grateful that
You should ask Ann one question.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what it is.
Okay. I was going to say, do you have one? Let me think about it for a second.
Well, anybody can.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody ask Ann one question. That's all you get. All you get.
Ooh.
What do you think about pursuing creative endeavors when you don't have time, when you're bogged down with other things? You feel like there's no time to, but you have something on your heart that you wish you had more time to be creative with.
That's a scenario I live. Yeah, because my personality, I do not like. It's hard to give myself permission to be for creative blocks of time, unless everything else kind of taken care of. And so that looks like for shaving. Anyway, so I do try to set things out on a calendar. Like, okay, I can't do it today, but if I can put it on a calendar, I'm going to do these days. And so give myself permission for people who want to. A lot of times I encourage somebody to take class or something where they're forced to do what they want to do, and they make a commitment to it. Often that doesn't work if you're, a mom or things like that. So I think but part of it is a personality thing. Part of it is as a couple, giving each other permission. I was impressed one time with a couple who were going overseas into missions, and they had determined that each one of them would have a hobby, and they would have permission to spend the time they needed to develop it, or if there was some money or something like that. I thought that was a really nice thing. So it wasn't, they worked together. And they thought about it early, too. I thought that was neat. But I struggle with that all the time. I'm trying to get a block of art ready for a show, and it's hard to give myself permission to do it. So I'm not a good person to ask for that.
Well, you better tell about our forays away.
Yeah, okay. So one thing that does work for us at this time in our life, we could not have done this earlier, is that about twice a year we go away someplace for at least 2 weeks where we just have, it's really for me, so we can have a block of uninterrupted art making time. It's someplace we can drive to because I take a press, we take all of our supplies, Hyatt takes easels and our paints and set up, and absolutely love it. Yeah, but a lot of times you can't do that if you've got kids. But there might be a way that people work that out. Get your kids doing art.
I'm sorry, I gave you no eye. I forgot you were up there. I gave you no eye contact. Thank you.
I'm curious, Anne, how do you I want to say this nicely, but it's not going to come out nicely. How do you manage someone like Hyatt who has just such rampant creativity? Maybe manage is not even the right word. How do you kind of focus that energy and maybe you don't. I'm just curious. I think. Yeah, how do you kind of work through because he has so many different vast interests of projects that he's working on, and are you coming alongside and kind of collaborating with him in that, or is it kind of a sounding board where you're just listening to what he's talking? I'm so curious about kind of both of your guys' processes as artists, how that kind of
You have to speak into that little fuzzy thing.
Yeah, I have it now, but I'll give it back. Sorry.
Okay. Now I have to go back to what was the question?
I didn't manage this wild man.
Yeah,
I think
I
he's saying.
know. Well, Seth helped me recently discover that one of my strengths is adaptability. I took the Clifton strengths and I found out that adaptability was my main strength. And I realized, looking back, that has helped us. I can change my plans. So that's a big part of it. I've always felt that my role was to support Hyatt, and having art of my own, it takes a little bit. It's a little bit harder for me to put that up at an equal level. I don't say our art is equal, but to give it equal value in my life, I guess. And I am running around in a lot of different directions, so keeping things in order so he can work is a big part of my life, which I'm happy that I am a servant. I love that. And he has given me an interesting life, for sure. And I'm blessed in so many ways. I mean, especially with our kids and grandkids and all of those things. So art is one area of it for me, but it's not my whole life.
Let me just add that it's easier being a man. You women know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
You better say it into this shaving brush.
I really appreciated as I came over here to set everything up. Ann had texted me on Saturday, like, hey, how can I help? What can I kind of prepare and get ready? And I think we're kindred spirits in that we're both kind of, we appreciate like the hosting and setting everything up and allowing for space for people to have this kind of, so I even setting stuff up, I could tell that it was like challenging for you to just like be here and enjoy. And so thank you for taking that sacrifice tonight. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining. Yeah, really appreciate all of you guys coming out tonight and spending the time to hang out and enjoy each other's company and hear some of this guy's story. And yeah, if you want to hear more about it, he has some books over there. Yeah, you guys can go home with some of his art tonight. So, you know.
By the way, you'll be interested. I'm writing a book right now. It's a book of snippets. The name of it is
Snippets.
How to Get Anything Done. And they're little one-page meditation, not meditation, but pieces of wit and advice.
Ooh, when's that going to be done?
Pretty soon. I mean, I'm working on it. I do a little bit every day.
Okay.
It's just whatever comes to my mind. It's not exhaustive.
Sweet.
But in the end, it'll be 31 ways or something. And it's always in our mind, because that's where the clutter is and the opposition is. So those are the things I'm writing about. It's kind of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Hyatt and Ann, for having us. Appreciate it.